Tonight on News 5 Live, the Council of Churches come out swinging at GOB on marijuana and teacher salary cuts. Another fisherman reported missing. Patients owe millions to KHMH and start saving for that Florida vacation. Frontier Airlines gets ready to launch direct flights from Belize to Orlando. These stories and more coming up next on News 5 Live.
It's a fact that with Smart, you get truly unlimited everything. Only with Smart, you get unlimited data anytime, while with the other guy, it's only double data on weekends. With unlimited data every day with Smart, there's no need to wait. So, it's a fact that our unlimited plans beat the competition. Stop being measured and told when to use your data and get unlimited talk, text, and data. Experience the true unlimited plans with Smart. That's a fact. Make the switch and live smart.
For the best built tools with the best performance and service, Hilti is the brand you can trust. Our warranty program is second to none. Hilti will repair or replace any tool that breaks as a result of materials or manufacturing defects for 20 years. Get 2 years of no-cost wear and tear coverage, including parts. Hilti, the best tools with the best coverage. Available at Benny's Quality and Savings.
Let me show you how it's done.
Bye. I can see this still work.
Why go to strong?
What the?
Hey, Pelican Stout got a new label. Bartender, 4 Pelican Stout with a new label on it. Now that's how it's done.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
Last month, my father passed away due to COVID-19. My father was not vaccinated. He was not. To be truthful, the things he would have said would be the things that we're hearing around town. But there were also some of the other things, you know, some of the other myths that really I was trying to tell him, no, Daddy, you need to get your vaccine. But I couldn't convince him in time.
I think what they're doing is a disservice to this country. In my mind, what they're doing is creating fear among people when they should be spreading a message of hope. What I hear them say has no basis, no scientific basis for the assertions they're making. And more than anything else, there's no legal basis for their assertion.
Would he have gotten that vaccine, he would still be here cracking his jokes and being his fun, crazy self, and we really miss him.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Tuesday, July 27th. I am Sabrina Daly. Government's move to ultimately legalize marijuana raises serious concerns in various sectors of Belizean society, including the religious community. The economic benefits, as well as the purging of criminal records for persons having been taken to court for marijuana-related offenses, have been put forward as part of the Briceño administration's position. The Council of Churches, nonetheless, is opposed to decriminalization. Needless to say, it is also firmly against legalization. News 5's Isani Cayetano reports.
In a statement issued by the Belize Council of Churches this afternoon, the religious body charges that notwithstanding all assurances, government has failed to consult with, or quote, seek and consider input on important moral and societal issues, unquote. This includes meaningful participation and contribution to the great marijuana debate. Earlier this month, Karim Musa, Minister of Home Affairs and New Growth Industries, weighed in on the view of some denominations, including that of the National Evangelical Association of Belize.
I totally respect the view of the churches. I am certainly not surprised by the position that they have taken and have been vocal about, in particular Pastor Wade. It's no secret how he feels about it. But at the same time, I come from a generation that can see the advantage of the economic upturn from something like this. And so, like I keep saying, we already have legislation in place since 2017 that made 10 grams legal for you to have in your possession. But what that actually created was an entire irresponsible scenario whereby we don't know where exactly you are to get this from. Where you can't grow it and you certainly can't buy it. And so it's just taking advantage of that. And I don't see it really as a religious issue.
The release from the Council of Churches goes on to say, however, that the growth and distribution of marijuana creates and enhances societal and moral ills already plaguing our country. The Council's position is in line with the views shared by NIAB.
We recognize that government has authority. They can write any law, and at the present moment there is a supermajority in the House and in the Senate. So a government can pass any legislation, but that does not determine whether or not the church will speak, and it does not determine how the church will act. So whether or not they pass the decriminalization or they pass the legislation for full legalization of marijuana, the church has spoken, and then the church can decide what is the way forward.
The Belize Council of Churches concludes its statement by reiterating that there is little confidence these days in the country's ability to enforce laws, and that it believes, quote, that should the legalization of marijuana bill be passed, that any regulations and enforcement thereof will be effectively disregarded, unquote. News 5 sought comment from the president of the Belize Council of Churches, Bishop Philip Wright, but we were told that he will do so on Wednesday. Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
On Monday, Justice Lisa Showman granted leave for Port Coral, whose principals include developer Mike Feinstein, to file an application for judicial review in a matter that involves the Department of the Environment and the National Environmental Appraisal Committee, NEAC. It has to do with approval being given to Portico to proceed to the next phase of development in respect of the Port of Magical Belize. Port Coral, on the other hand, is the multi-million-dollar tourism development project on State Bank, which is presently under construction and is headed by the Feinstein Group. The matter is expected to be heard before the Supreme Court at the end of September. Port Coral's argument, put forward by senior counsel Glenn Godfrey and William Lindo Jr., includes the geographical proximity between both ports, as well as the fact that Belize District would not be able to economically sustain the two competing interests. Prior to the judicial review being undertaken, several questions have been raised pertaining to Port Coral's adherence to its environmental compliance plan. Those concerns also include the expansion of State Bank using material that has been dredged to clear a nearby channel. It is being alleged that State Bank has been expanded beyond what is stipulated in the ECP. News 5 has been furnished with several documents, as well as images that purport to substantiate this claim. We will have more on this story in Wednesday's newscast. The National Referral Hospital is reporting more than $35 million in unpaid patient medical bills. This is a huge amount that the chairman of the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital says could have gone towards expanding its services to include more of the kinds of treatment that Belizeans seek overseas. While the hospital will try to collect what is owed, it is also devising a more effective collection system. KHMH Board Chairman Dr. Andres Sosa explained to News 5 how this new system will work.
One of the things that we are looking at is to stratify or to categorize our patients. We know that some patients will be unable to pay, but there are others who are able to pay. And we are looking to create a database that will give us better information as to who is capable of paying or not. We have various ways in which we can go, in which we can look at collecting the monies, and one certainly is by increasing our capacity in-house to make collections. Yes. Another possibility is to outsource the collection of the money, of the fees that are due. And there are some other innovative ideas out there which we explore. One of the proposals made is that we can sell the debt and have somebody else collect it, and use any monies collected to make investment in bringing the rapid upgrades that we want to make. The time when we have to travel abroad for life-saving care should substantially come to an end, and it should be made available to everyone. Yes. You should be able to save your life, no matter if you're a millionaire or whether you are just Mr. Joe Public.
Sosa said that the hospital does have a payment plan in place and that the KHMH will soon offer discounts for those who clear off current debt. Frontline workers who are not vaccinated after Friday will be required to pay for bi-monthly COVID-19 tests. Where the employer is not providing these for free, those classified as frontline workers under SI 74 will have to pay out of pocket. While there has been some pushback against this mandate, Minister of Health and Wellness, Michelle Shabat, told the host of Open Your Eyes that it also costs the country to care for hospitalized COVID patients and to provide vaccines for the population.
One of the questions that still lingers is whether or not frontline workers will be able to access those tests for free.
Marlene, that is not the position. The position is that anybody as of the 1st of August who is classified as a frontline worker will have to pay for the test wherever they go, whether it's the public institution or at a private institution.
Rapid or PCR?
We are accepting both.
Okay. And when you hear the arguments of the cost that's associated to it, how do you respond to that?
Well, you know, Marlene, there's also a cost to us providing vaccinations to the country. There's a cost when somebody is infected and we have to ventilate them and try to save their lives. And so the last numbers I saw, it was costing us at our public institutions almost $46,000 per patient. If you go to a private institution, that can go up to something like $200,000. And so the cost of the pandemic is huge. It is burdensome on us as a country.
The Minister of Health and Wellness also addressed the situation of Dr. Marvin Manzanero, who, after being replaced as the Functional Director of Health Services in late 2020, has yet to settle into an agreed-upon position. While he still has the title of Director of Health Services, he is not carrying out the function of the DHS. But according to the Minister of Health and Wellness, an agreement has been reached and a new office and role are being created for Dr. Manzanero.
The duties of the Director of Health Services is being carried out by Dr. Murray. He is the Deputy Director of Health Services, and he is currently carrying out those duties.
And Dr. Marvin Manzanero?
Dr. Marvin is still around.
He's still by title the Director?
He is still by title the Director.
But not with the duties?
Not with the duties, not
Why?
with the duties. Well, that is a position that we had agreed he would have relinquished. We are speaking, we've been talking to him about how we can fit him in another role. We are working with the Ministry of the Public Service to create an office that he wishes to work at and which would be beneficial for the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And so we are working with the Ministry of the Public Service, to see how we can create that office and to put him into that position.
And that would be a position to do?
He would be in charge of what we call the international affairs of the ministry.
The 10% salary reduction for teachers and public officers came into force in June after weeks of failed negotiations between the joint unions and the Briceño administration. The Belize Council of Churches, though somewhat belated, has weighed in on the salary cuts. In a release issued earlier today, the church is openly calling to question its relationship with the government of Belize, particularly in light of recent actions taken by GOB, which the church believes will further erode and undermine that relationship. The Council of Churches cites in its release that the Prime Minister is on record stating that school management authorities and not government were responsible for the 10% salary decrease. Assigning blame, according to the church, is grossly unfair. News 5 will get a comment from Bishop Philip Wright of the Council of Churches on Wednesday. Coming up, COVID survivors implore Belizeans to save themselves and loved ones by getting vaccinated.
Hello, friends. This is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word.
Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the Word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. Henry Ward Beecher once said, "The church is not a gallery for the exhibition of eminent Christians, but a school for the education of imperfect ones, a nursery for the care of the weak ones, a hospital for the healing of those who need assiduous care." But this costs money, and people often complain about the church always preaching and teaching about giving. I think the best answer to this objection was given by the great preacher Alling Redpath. He tells a story of a family who related how that when their son was born as a baby, he cost them a lot for doctors and medical bills. Then he began to grow, and he cost them a lot for clothes and customary expenses. He then went to school and cost even more. He went to college and then cost them a small fortune. Then he got sick and died. And since then, they said, he hasn't cost us anything. The church that does not cost anything is dead. As long as the church is reaching out and people are giving, the church will remain alive and well. When that ceases, then the church will simply become dead and ineffective. What are you doing in keeping your church alive?
Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Digi is bringing the summer heat with their sizzling summer deals. Enjoy big savings on phones as low as $169. Unbeatably hot deals on the Samsung Galaxy A series, Amazon and Alcatel tablets, and so many more. You'll find remarkable deals on the latest models such as the Apple 12 Pro Max and the Samsung S21. Plus, for every device you purchase, you'll get $40, $60, or even $100 bonus credit. But it doesn't stop there. Every purchase also gets you a chance to win big in Digi's back-to-school raffle for a package valued over $2,000. Digi's got that summer heat with their sizzling summer deals. For more information, visit our website at livedigi.com/summer deals or visit a Digi store near you today.
Life can be tough when a loved one suddenly departs. Dependents of the deceased are sometimes left alone to pick up the pieces and may be stranded financially. Fortunately, the Social Security Board provides survivor's benefit to ease the burden. Survivor's benefit is paid to a widow or widower, children under 18 years, or up to 21 years if attending school, or dependent parents. A survivor's benefit can be either a grant or a pension. Want to know more about survivor's benefit? Visit our website or contact any of our offices to have someone assist you. Also, be sure to visit our Facebook page and give us a like to stay informed. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
I visited the land of Serbia, a great many miles away. I ascended the Mount Everest few people have conquered. I roared on the snow-covered Antarctic and Arctic. I rolled swiftly across the vast, untamed desert. Ling Long Tire conquers every corner of the world.
Distributed by Enrique Martinez and Sons Limited. 2 miles Philip Wilson Highway, Belize City.
Before we had a COVID vaccine, the world was praying for one, as millions of people helplessly watched their loved ones die. Now we have a vaccine, and there is a degree of reluctance by some people to take it. That reluctance is what has led to and continues to lead to more COVID-related deaths. On Monday night, Channel 5 hosted a program called Get the Facts, Dispel the Myths, which included testimonials from survivors of COVID-19 who endured firsthand the pain and anguish of losing loved ones to the dreaded disease. Here are a few of those stories.
I was not one of those lucky ones, you know, that after 14 days I was back on my feet. And I was one of those that after 14 days I was still fighting for my life. And after intubation, recovery was still not easy. It's still not easy. I am still recovering. I still have fatigueness. I can't sleep at night. I have to battle with COVID every day. It's a reminder that it's real and it's out there. And the loss of my husband is a reminder every day. Just on Saturday, my 8-year-old asked me, well, I told her that I was going to be in a show, and she's like, Mom, you know, again? I'm like, yeah, you know, and she's like, so what is it on this time? And I told her, you know, it's about the vaccine. And she said, Mom, can you say something for me? And I'm like, sure. Can you tell people that it's not easy to lose someone?
Take your time.
And that if my daddy had the vaccine, he would still be here with me. Every night, I tell my son, I love you. So how I can prove I love my son? Be protected to him. Taking the opportunity, Mr. Vega, my brother-in-law, my husband, and more Belizeans don't have before, okay? So why you say not to an opportunity than another countries? For example, my parents, they need a appear in a list and they give you the appointment. If you lose your appointment, you need to go back to put in the list and then you get the vaccine. So here we are begging to the people to get the vaccine, okay? So that's unfair.
My father passed away due to COVID-19. My father was not vaccinated. He was not. To be truthful, the things he would have said would be the things that we're hearing around town. But there were also some of the other things, you know, some of the other myths that really I was trying to tell him, no, Daddy, you need to get your vaccine. But I couldn't convince him in time.
Internist Dr. Mark Musa, who also appeared in the first segment of the show, said that if we rely only on herd immunity to defeat COVID, many of us will succumb.
When the virus is spreading, it is trying to evade our immune system as well. So its sole job is to try and survive. And so if we just leave it up to our own immunity to try and achieve herd immunity by just infection, if we have a case fatality rate of, say, 2%, that's the current population in the world is 7.8 billion people. If you decide, I don't want any vaccine, I want to achieve herd immunity through infection, 2% case fatality of 7.8 billion is 150 million people dying.
Dr. Gabriela Guerra also reminded viewers that, contrary to popular belief that only unhealthy people die from COVID-19, her husband, Dr. Kevin Guerra, was a healthy person who did not drink or smoke, and he still died from COVID-19. And while a large number of unvaccinated workers will have to pay out of pocket for bi-weekly COVID-19 tests, the Minister of Health and Wellness says he is encouraged by the uptake in vaccination among frontliners.
In terms of persons who we have identified in the tourism industry, we have 100%. And we also have 100% for customs, which is very interesting because the latest SI is mandating that any frontline worker who are at any of our border points who are not vaccinated must be deployed, must be redeployed. Mm-hmm. And so that affects customs, it affects immigration, it affects BAHA. And so that is an interesting
So they're at
number.
100%?
They're at, yes.
Customs?
Customs is at 100%. Our healthcare workers are at 95%, which is excellent. That's a good number. Our National Assembly, we're at 74%. But let me clarify, that does not mean that your area reps are not vaccinated, because we look not only at the area reps, but we look at the staff of the National Assembly as well. And so we need to work on that. Teachers are up at 72%, which is a good number. A couple of weeks ago, we were at 60%, and so we've seen a massive jump in their numbers. Immigration is at 61%, so they're doing better. The one we're looking at, which is of concern because you have so much interaction, is the judiciary. We have so many people attending our magistrates' courts, and although some of our Supreme Court matters are still being done by Zoom, I think the criminal sessions are back on face-to-face. So we need to get our folks in that sector vaccinated. Yeah, they are at, judiciary is at 59%. The other one that causes us some concern is the police. The police is only at 51%. And they really are at the front line of this battle. They have the most interaction with our citizens on a daily basis. And they must do better. They have to do better.
Asians continue to get vaccinated. The Minister of Health and Wellness says additional liberties will be given to people that are vaccinated very soon. And members of the wider public are also turning out for their vaccinations. This morning, News 5's Dwayne Moody was at the heart of Belize City to talk to those getting their jab in places they normally only turn out for shopping.
The number of vaccinated persons in Belize is on the rise as the Ministry of Health and Wellness continues on its vaccination campaign across the country. Today, a clinic was set up in downtown Albert Street in front of Brody's for accessibility purposes. Whether it was for their first jab or the second, residents who may have hesitated to get inoculated with the COVID-19 vaccine are now coming out, and they are resolute on wanting to be safe and protect their loved ones.
I'm kind of scared to get it, so I just come out go get it.
How was the experience?
You don't feel no way. Normal.
So why you decide now that, after all this time that it has been available, that you needed to come out and get it?
Because I have a young baby. I have 2 kids, and I want to protect them.
Why you get vaccinated today, sir?
Number 1, the Bible says, obey the authorities. And if they give that, you obey it and do it.
This is my second shot.
How was the experience?
Not painful, nothing.
No. Why did you decide to get vaccinated?
I think it's better to be safe than sorry. I think everybody should be vaccinated just to take care of each other, you don't want nothing bad happen to you or your family members. So just get vaccinated.
Once you're 18 years and older, you can come out to any of our vaccination sites. We are here right now on Albert Street. You can come out for your first dose or your second dose. Remember that if you have 8 weeks after you have taken your first dose, you can come out to take your second dose.
But more than administering the vaccine, Communications Officer Troy Coleman of the Ministry of Health and Wellness says that it is about educating the masses about the benefits.
We're not just distributing masks, we're also educating people about the importance of being vaccinated, how that is important for them as individuals, to their families, and to the country at large. At the same time, we are trying to encourage them the importance, not only the importance of vaccine, but also the importance of continuing to wear the mask. So we are also teaching them how to use their mask properly and how to ensure that they continue to practice the protocols that has been put in place by the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
After the break, Jared Usher goes missing. A family desperate for word after he fails to return from a fishing trip.
Boy, Billy King got a new label. Oh.
Pelican, the beer of Belize.
My name is Kenrick and I live in Belize City, and I am employed as an agent for a company that does reservations for hotels from all over the world. Since amputation, my life has changed minimally. Yes, I don't have my legs to get around, but I have always been an active person. So I do things a little bit more deliberate, a little bit more slower maybe, but I still get it done. Let's say they say we're going to some restaurant, wherever. I need to call and say, do you have access to a wheelchair? And they say, yes, of course. Then I would ask the second question, can I get into your restroom with a wheelchair? And then 99% of the time they'll say no. I would like to encourage everybody who has a disability to not give up. Never, 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 ever give up.
Live and let live. Respect for all Belizeans.
Why, Tony?
Boy, kid, where you going, man?
We actually come see you because I need to buy a stack of them plastic plates and cups for my grocery shop because I run low.
Boy, I stopped importing that thing since April 15th, you know. And I just routed the last batch, must be about like 3 weeks back, you know.
Man, do I usually have anything? Where you going?
Check this, right? Under the new law, we ban all single-use plastics, so that the cups, plates, forks, spoons, and knives, all of that. Since April 15th, can't import none of them. Starting January 15, 2021, you can't manufacture them. April 15, 2021, you can't sell them. And after July 14, 2021, if you get catch with any other thing, you will get fined.
Me never know this. I guess I have to make some changes then. I have to make the customers know that anything not available. Anyways, bro. Thanks, man.
No problem, man. Take care.
Another fisherman is missing at sea. On July 5th, Jared Usher went out in his skiff named Blessed Youth, but never returned. His family was not too concerned at first, since these fishing trips can sometimes last for over a week. But it has been 17 days now, and his father, Raymond Usher, told the press this afternoon that he is very anxious.
From the 5th of July, he went out, and we had some communication between the 5th, 2 or 3 days thereafter, but thereafter we lost communication with him. And it was sometimes after that we became concerned, a week or so, because he said that he would have been out there trying to make things happen. So don't be troubled if you don't see me within a week. And by that token, we took it for granted. Let's ride on for another week and see maybe something might be going up for him. But the time ran up and we became a bit more concerned. He decided to go on his own, buying his own boat and everything. And it was at this juncture that he was about to venture into the full lobster season.
Did Mr. Usher say who he was going out to sea with?
Unfortunately, on that day, and I don't know why is it that I became so complacent, but that was at that point I couldn't say whether he had somebody in the boat at the time by the southern foreshore, because I was just standing up just in front of the magistrate's court when he was talking to me. I said, Dad, I just come to make it sure that I'm moving now, I'm going out. I hope that funeral goes very well, because I said it's on the 7th funeral for my dad and my stepmother. We don't know what happens out in, because so many things is happening these days. It befalls me, it behooves me to know what could happen out there, you know. And I'm appealing to anybody that might have seen that boat and know him for who he is, will be able to reach out and communicate with us, and even with those in authority.
Authorities have launched a search for Jared. If you have any information that may aid in the search, the family can be reached at 604-9840. The Keecocker Marine Reserve, which is located on the northern end of the island, is a prime spot for snorkeling. On Monday, the reserve was given special attention. Through the Sustainable Tourism Project, a 5-year loan agreement between the government and the Inter-American Development Bank, the Marine Reserve received equipment that will assist in proper monitoring of the area to ensure that it is kept pristine for years to come. Previously, the project was carried out by one ministry, but under the current government, the Ministries of Tourism and the Blue Economy are collaborating. Chief Executive Officer in the Ministry of Tourism, Nicole Solano, explained that the area is among several others selected for preservation.
This project is a wide project, so it covers a wide range of areas throughout the country. And over the period of the project, there have been many different deliverables from specific areas identified. Areas in Corozal, in Punta Gorda, in Keecocker, there are different areas within Belize that have been covered under this particular project. So you may remember that a couple of weeks ago there was a handing over of the Toledo Plaza that was also a part of this project. So in the original documents, we identify the areas that are important for development from a product development standpoint, and we try to identify what is needed.
Solano explained that the equipment is the last phase of the 5-year project, which focuses on enhancing marine resources and tourism infrastructure. The CEO explained that because tourism encompasses so much, there will be a need for future collaboration.
Tourism has a lot in common with many of the other ministries, and we've had, like in the case of Mountain Pine Ridge, the handing over was done to the forestry department, so it was a different ministry then, right? So tourism really touches across ministries, and definitely there will be a need for collaboration across the board going forward. So we expect that as we move forward in our plans for tourism recovery under COVID, and also general developments, because as you know, we need to continue to develop the product. We have to continue to look and see what needs improvements.
Among the equipment handed over were a drone, a computer, tablets, range finders, waterproof binoculars, spotlights, and flashlights. A boat and 2 75-horsepower engines, uniforms, and gear for the field management staff will arrive shortly. Just ahead, firefighters say conditions are terrible at their new location, but the chief asks for patience during the transition. Details when we return.
Protecting your financial documents using a Ziploc bag or electronic means is key to the recovery process. Financial documents include personal identification cards, financial account information, insurance policies, ownership or leasing documents, all medical and health insurance information. RF&G Insurance Company Limited, where it pays to get it right.
Good morning, sweetie. It's time for school.
Are you a teacher or public sector employee who is thinking of owning your new home? Get the keys to your new home with Belize Bank's all-inclusive mortgage, the best financing option in Belize for your new home purchase or construction. Inclusive of all mortgage-related fees, no down payment, affordable terms, amazingly low interest rates. Visit our nearest branch to speak to one of our financial advisors to discuss how you can be one step closer to owning your new home. Some conditions apply.
That's the sound of fuel efficiency. Every day, every time, I choose Una Fuels powered with Dynamax. Una, a brand committed with the future.
Smart continues to expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life.
Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that Smart went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to Smart, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardenia Village. We really do appreciate it.
Smart continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your Smart broadband with Smart mobile services. Smart, bringing people together.
2020 taught us the importance of being connected to the virtual world, and NextGen is here to keep its commitment to you. Even if you're physically apart, NextGen keeps you digitally connected.
Okay everyone, thank you for following me today.
NextGen provides more than just an internet plan. They provide service plans that support all your online needs. Sign up today and get your NextGen's ultra high-speed internet service. NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
It's been over a month since the National Fire Service had to vacate the property it's called headquarters. For decades after the previous UDP administration sold the fire station to Atlantic Bank before the general elections. They have had to split into 2 locations at the Marion Jones Sporting Complex and a house on Sunrise Avenue, about a block away from Burt Ambulance. It isn't ideal for the department, which responds to emergencies, but Fire Chief Colin Gillett says that they are making use of what they have.
We sold the building, the old fire station located at number 1 Cleghorn Street. Had a lot of issues. There's a lot of things that needed to be fixed on the building, and the congestion in that area wasn't suitable for our trucks. So in getting the funds from the building, government, we pitched an idea to the government, who they agreed that we should spread the money around instead of building one big fire station out of all that money, because there's a lot of, all the other stations needed something fixed. We needed some equipment, we needed a new roof, that kind of stuff. So in trying to maximize the funds, we came up with an idea to build smaller stations so that we have more coverage in more areas. So here in Belize City, we have separated the administration from the operations. Marion Jones Stadium is temporary until we get a building fixed that are built on the north side. And when we build the admin building on Chetamau Street, it will house the fire safety, it will house admin and the mechanics. We will have another fire truck there, which will give us coverage in the Belama area. So we will basically, with the help of Dolphin Street on the south side, we'll be able to triangulate our coverage, which we would then be able to maximize how fast we get to a fire scene.
While he could not confirm the amount paid for the rental of both spaces, News 5 is reliably informed that between both locations, $6,000 in monthly rent fees are being paid, $2,000 for the house on Sunrise Avenue, which hosts the administration section, and $4,000 to the National Sports Council for the use of the space at the Marion Jones Sporting Complex. News 5's tip line recently received reports from firefighters who described the conditions at the Marion Jones Sporting Complex as deplorable. They claim no renovations have taken place and the welfare of those in the operational section is not being considered. News 5 asked Fire Chief Colin Gillett about these reports. He says the situation is temporary during this transition period.
The situation at Marion Jones is still temporary, right? It's only been a month or so, and so we're still getting all the things we need put in place there to make them as comfortable as possible. Because we understand the work that they do, and we try to make sure that they have everything they need to do their jobs properly. So in the next couple of weeks or so, all the things that they have issues with should be fixed. Because it's still just a transition period. If you look here outside, you know, this is just a house that we're, as a headquarters, right? So my secretary sits next to the kitchen. So transition period, it's understandable, but I just ask them to bear with us and we'll get to that point.
The former fire department headquarters was sold in September 2020 to Atlantic Bank for $2.8 million. At the time, the Barra administration said the proceeds of the sale would be used to build a better building on Independence Boulevard to the tune of $3.3 million. But the plan has changed since then, and the goals now are to renovate existing stations across the country, install several others in Belize City, and possibly acquire an additional 60 firefighters to complement the 150 on staff.
We're actually working now with BWSL to install additional fire hydrants in the city and all over the country. And we're trying to get some projects working where we can put a different type of hydrant so that in the rural areas where it costs too much, we'll be able to put elevated tanks so that they'll have access to the water. So everything that we're trying to do is with new techniques and moving away from the way it used to be. We already have plans, idea of what the station is supposed to look like. We're actually supposed to build 6 smaller stations, because if you think about Independence, Placencia, those aren't real stations. So we're trying to make them look like, pattern them off the one in Spanish Account, which is a steel frame building, nice, it has everything in it. And that's the kind of cookie cutter type of station that we're trying to build. The others, how long it's supposed to take, we're hoping within the next year and a half, everything is going to be in place, including the one on Chetamau streets. Presently, we're using a lot of relief volunteers who come in and help out if a firefighter is sick that day. But our focus now is to get additional firefighters and actually have an intake. We're hoping that if we get a certain number, I'm hoping like 60 firefighters, which is after we promote the ones we already have. And then we'll be able to have a good complement, because one of the plans in this overall project is to create another station in Orange Walk.
Fire Chief Gillett says that the National Fire Service is expected to acquire additional fire trucks and equipment for the department. News 5 has received reports that over the weekend, a joint operation including the BDF, forestry officers, and Friends for Conservation and Development Rangers was in the Chiquibull Reserve to destroy crops from a Guatemala farming encroachment. While carrying out the activity at an area known as Jimenez Farm, north of Rio Blanco, men believed to be Guatemalans fired at the joint team. Fortunately, no one was injured. It is not clear if there was a crossfire, but the assailants escaped. News 5 hopes to have more details in Wednesday's newscast. Just ahead, get ready, set, go as Frontier Airlines announces new routes between the U.S. and Belize. But first, here's the weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
I was 17 and in love, and I thought he loved me too. But now I know that a loving partner should not take away your choice of clothes you wear or the music you listen to. He should not take away your purse, car keys, or your phone so that when your family calls, you cannot answer. If your partner is controlling you, it is domestic violence. Call 0800-A-WAY-OUT or our cell phone number, 672-9628. This message is brought to you by the National Women's Commission in collaboration with Miss Universe Belize, with funding from the Engender and Spotlight Project.
Es un hecho. Únicamente con Smart obtienes todo realmente ilimitado. Solo con Smart obtienes datos ilimitados en cualquier momento. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo son datos dobles los fines de semana. Con datos ilimitados todos los días no hay necesidad de esperar, así que es un hecho que nuestros planes ilimitados superan a la competencia. Por lo tanto, no permita que le digan cómo y cuándo usar sus datos. Y obtenga llamadas, mensajes de texto y datos ilimitados. Vive la verdadera experiencia de planes ilimitados con Smart. Es un hecho. Haga el cambio y viva Smart.
Images of Mayan archaeological sites that there is good news today for Belize's tourism industry, which was all but decimated during the COVID-19 pandemic. Tourist arrivals are up and Frontier Airlines will soon be offering direct flights from Denver and Colorado to Belize beginning in December. We spoke to Chairman of the Belize Tourism Board, Evan Tillett, via Zoom today about the rebound for tourism.
The conversation with Frontier started
maybe in 2007, and it has been on and off. But really, it has been the vision of the Minister of Tourism, the Ministry of Tourism and Diaspora Relations, and to take a very aggressive posture as it relates to aero development in the country. And so we have an airline development committee that does the heavy lifting in terms of negotiating and having meetings with airlines that we feel are strategic. Hence, since we started to talk from there late last year, we have been back and forth, and finally it has come to where it is today, and they're now announcing services to Belize from Orlando and from Denver starting in December. In the time of a pandemic, I think what will determine if people will travel or not, health and safety is still a critical part of it. I think Belize is in a super position in the sense that the government has done an excellent job in managing the COVID situation in the country. And the BTB and the Ministry of Tourism has also done fairly well in terms of developing 9-point standards, which sends a message to the world that Belize is a safe destination.
Tilla told News 5 that visitor numbers are increasing and the Belize Tourism Board expects the upward growth to continue. Over 19,000 visitors were registered for the month of May, and July registered over 26,000 visitors. BTB says July is on track to surpass June. Images of Mayan archaeological sites that Belize Tourism Board removed from its website a couple of weeks ago have been put back up. Chairman Tillett explained that the initial decision to remove the images stemmed from the Maya land rights case.
I think everybody knows that it has had to do with the whole Maya land rights issue. So, we decided to err on the side of caution, and we decided to take those things down to ensure that we did not put the country in a position to be sued. And hence we decided to go that route and wait until there was clarity on the issue. There have been some clarity on the issue, and as you rightfully said, those things are now backed up on the site. And so, in my opinion, it is done.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.